A11Y, A11Y. What is this? So A11Y is shorthand for the word accessibility. And that's because there are 11 letters in between the A and the Y in the word. Folks who work in digital accessibility often use this as shorthand. You'll see this sometimes in social media hashtags, company names and logos. We see a few here on the screen as examples. Accessible A11Y, the A11Y project, for example. And some folks will pronounce this A11Y, others will say A11Y, and still others say ally or ally. I personally like ally because practicing accessibility is also practicing allyship with disabled folks. Take a moment to reflect on which of these accessibility topics or practices you're familiar with. We have alt text, heading levels, OCR or optical character recognition, captioning, screen readers, AAC or augmentative and alternative communication, audio description, plain language, and speech to text. Go ahead and pause the video to answer. You can jot down some notes or answer directly into the week 1 discussion board. So why are we discussing accessibility in this course? First, accessibility allyship supports all of us here in our shared learning community, which is our course. I work to make the class materials accessible to you, but we're all going to practice accessibility together in this course. The virtual format that this course is taking really kind of demands that we do so and pay attention to digital accessibility. So it will really be all of our responsibilities to make sure that our work is accessible to everyone here in our course. So I like to give options for the formats of some of our assignments. So perhaps you want to write a paper, but others might want to do a podcast or make a short video. But any format that you choose will also need to be accessible. So when we do group work or peer review, or when you submit it to me, we need to make sure that all of our work is going to be accessible so that we can all enjoy it. Another reason for spotlighting accessibility in this course is that it really benefits everyone. As we learn about different accessibility practices, we'll examine their broad applications and audiences. So a couple examples we might think of, an automatic door is designed to help folks who are using wheelchairs, for example, but many of us also who are not currently using a wheelchair will appreciate when we're pushing our shopping carts, or if we have strollers, or if we're holding things in our arms. The automatic doors are also really useful to folks who might not identify as disabled. Similarly, there's something called the curb cut effect, and this is very similar to automatic doors. The curb cuts that are in the side near the sidewalks, when you go to step off of a sidewalk into the street, you'll see curb cuts that make that a little bit easier. So it's kind of a slanted incline or decline that would make using wheelchairs more accessible for going over a curb, but you might find yourself rolling luggage, pushing carts, strollers. Again, lots of other uses for it as well. So accessibility really is something that when we implement, it makes it more accessible for folks with disabilities, but also just makes the world, the internet, our environments, whatever it is, more useful to a greater amount of people. And finally, we'll also be focusing on accessibility to give us skills we'll practice in this course, but you'll see that you can also apply them to other courses or even your careers. So in a few short years, you'll be instructors, content creators, web designers, leaders, whatever it is that you choose to pursue. You will suddenly become responsible for making your content or your workplace accessible. And if we're not actually practicing those skills, that can be quite a learning curve that you're just thrown into. It's also really marketable to be able to say that you have some accessibility awareness and experience. So we'll learn how to start making some extra cash in the meantime as kind of a side gig. If you're interested, I'll highlight some of the opportunities that you have by doing accessibility work. More and more companies are ending up in hot water for not making their content accessible, and this is a trend that's only going to continue. In June of 2023, members of the popular forum-style discussion platform Reddit led one of the largest user-driven protests in social media history. This involved over 8,000 subreddit communities of over 2.6 billion subscribers who are participating in this protest of Reddit's recent changes to its third-party API policy, which just means, in a nutshell, the company is now charging exorbitant fees to developers who are offering more accessible, streamlined, and customizable Reddit experiences. And Reddit's official app is not fully screen reader compatible. And that is, blind folks using software like VoiceOver, JAWS, and NVDA that read text aloud are not able to participate as fully as their sighted counterparts. So you may have encountered this Reddit blackout. Similarly, Domino's Pizza faced a lawsuit because blind folks were not able to order food from its inaccessible website. UC Berkeley and other big universities like Harvard and MIT have also been sued for failing to caption their online videos. It really just makes good business sense to be able to attract a wider audience or a broader customer base by making your content or your website more accessible. And there's even some incentives like search engine optimization preferences. This means your website will pop up at the top of a Google search if you are doing things to make that website more accessible. One tool I want to show you is voice typing that you can find within Google Docs. So this can be very helpful if you, say, had a hand or arm injury and typing was aggravating it. You can simply use this speech-to-text tool that's built right into Google Docs. So you do this by navigating to Tools at the top of the screen and then selecting voice typing. Or if you're someone who only uses the keyboard, we will also talk about keyboard-only navigation later in this course. You can select Control, Shift, and S at the same time, and that will also bring you to voice typing. And I've opened my sample Google Doc to show you this. So here we go to Tools. Down here, we can find voice typing. When I click this, you can see that it automatically starts filling in what I am speaking. So you can play around with this. You can see that it struggles sometimes with certain words, certain accents. It is not a perfect tool, but it is one that can be helpful, makes it much easier to go in and edit. So wanted to highlight this for you as you might find this useful as you are doing work in this course or in some of your other courses as well. A hidden feature that lots of people don't know about, but can certainly find it a useful accessibility tool. Another tool I wanted to show you that's built right into our course is called Immersive Reader. And this will read content aloud to us. It's very customizable. You can select reading focus, different reading speeds and voices. There are a few other elements that I'd like to highlight, so I will just jump right into it, showing it with our course page. At the top right-hand corner of our course page, you'll see Immersive Reader. So when we click this, it's going to read the text that we can see here on this current page. Also, because I have added something called alt text, which we will talk about later, to this image, it will also describe the image as well. So I'll go ahead and click this. we see our Immersive Reader page. I can do a few different things here. I can speed up the voice. Let's just put it on 1.5 speed. You can choose from a couple different voices. I'll go ahead and play it so you get a sense of what it sounds like.
Immersive Reader tool. Where did the Pepe Sylvia meme come from? You've probably seen versions of the following image around social media. Man with frenzied, wide eyes holds a cigarette and gestures dramatically at an intricate conspiracy map.
Great, so that was the description of the image. So we can change the speed if we want it to go faster or slower. Can also play around with some of the different settings here. So I'll go to text preferences. We can adjust the size of the font that we can see here, as well as the spacing between the lines. Can change the font. For some folks, certain fonts are easier or more difficult to read just based on their vision. Similarly, you can change the background, colors, certain contrasts. Certain color combinations are easier on the eyes. So you can play around to see what works best for you. We also have here some grammar options. This might be useful in a language learning course, for instance. And this tool is also used in K-12, so you can also imagine this being helpful for students. You can select different parts of speech, have those show up in different colors. If you wanted all the verbs highlighted, you can see what that is. So that's something you can play around with. You can also have the words divided up into syllables. So you can see the dots that they put in between to divide words up into the different syllables. There's also a line focus option. So if this would be helpful to you as you're reading to kind of block out some of the other content that might be a little distracting, you can go line by line, adjust it as you would like. There's also a picture dictionary, which I will show in just a moment, and also the option to translate into different languages. So you can do this by entire page or one word at a time. So let's go to, I don't know, lots of different options. We'll do Spanish. By document or by word. We can see it automatically changed everything into Spanish. We can also leave it by word. When I leave this view, oops, let's go back in. I can click individual words, and this is where we can see a picture for some of the words, not all of them. I think it turned off my, there we go. I want to translate into, let's do Arabic by word. We can then see the translation into whatever language we want. You can actually type, or can click to hear it
حول.
Pronounced.
Around.
Or pronounced in English as well. You can see some of the different images that come up. We will also talk about why using images or a picture dictionary can be helpful to certain folks later on in this course. But I just wanted to show some of the different features that the immersive tool that's built in right into our course can offer. Now, if we found the Immersive Reader tool helpful within our course, you can also download some extensions in your different browsers to get similar functionality when you're surfing the web, looking for information there. So I just pulled up a website. I like Beat Saber, so I can use this as an example. Because I've already downloaded the extension, what I can do is select text on any website. Just go ahead and grab a couple paragraphs here. When I right click, I'm going to go down and look for help me read this. And it will turn into what we're familiar with on our course page, the Immersive Reader tool.
With the release of Oculus Quest, more and more players are jumping into Beat.
And again, I can adjust that speed if I want it to go a lot faster. Adjust the voice.
Beat Saber. And while it's easy enough to cut cubes to the beat, there's a trick to achieving the highest score.
So I will leave the link for the Chrome or the browser extensions if you would like to download that as well.